This time, I'd like to talk about the concept that there are two Chinas. In Japan, we tend to lump everything together and refer to the Chinese economy as a single entity, but China is a vast country, so when we only focus on the positive aspects, it creates the impression that there are many wealthy people and that the economy is booming. Based on my prediction, I think we'll soon start hearing more talk about how the Chinese economy is recovering rapidly. In some parts of China, the Communist Party is making large-scale interventions in the economy, and many people are expecting an economic recovery due to improved cash flow. In fact, the stock market is surging, and there are reports of very high-priced real estate being sold in Shanghai. This has led some people, particularly within China, to mistakenly believe that the Chinese economy has hit bottom. However, that is only one part of the story. When you look at the people who haven't benefited from economic growth, you might start to wonder if these two realities even exist in the same country, as the situation for many is quite dire. Depending on what information you focus on, your image of China can drastically change, but the reality is that the country is becoming highly polarized. For example, for Japanese companies that do large-scale business with China, understanding this duality is extremely important, especially when it comes to making decisions about investments. You can't just sit on the sidelines and observe this from a third-party perspective, it directly impacts your own financial interests. The Japanese media hasn't covered the darker sides of the Chinese economy very well, which has led to many people misunderstanding the situation. That legacy of misunderstanding still lingers today. Even though Chinese stock prices are rising now, the economic measures being taken by the Chinese government are nowhere near enough to address the massive real estate bubble. One might think, why don't they just do more? But the truth is, if they go too far, they won't be able to maintain the value of the yuan. While some might believe that a weaker currency always benefits a country, the reality is that stability with minimal fluctuations is key. A currency that becomes too volatile creates significant negative impacts on a large portion of the population, especially when it happens over a short period. Because China is such a large country, a sudden devaluation of the yuan would severely affect many people. China now imports both food and energy, and those who would suffer the most from a weaker currency are those who aren't particularly wealthy. Even under the current tough conditions, if they take another hit from currency devaluation, it could be catastrophic. The government can no longer simply pump money into the economy to prop up everything. Additionally, when money is injected into the economy, it isn't being used to fund long-term projects like infrastructure investments or research and development. Instead, it flows into the stock market, inflating the wealth of those who are already wealthy. This only serves to further the polarization between the rich and the poor. China is also becoming increasingly divided regionally. Some regions are experiencing population growth and might continue to thrive, while other regions are losing population and could eventually reach a point where the government can no longer sustain them. This regional polarization isn't slowing down either. Chinese cities are categorized into first-tier, second-tier, and third-tier cities. While this ranking system isn't official, it's widely understood. However, once you go beyond the top tiers, things get murkier. For instance, cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guizhou, and Shenzhen are first tier, but beyond that, the rankings can be more fluid. In regions where population decline is inevitable, real estate developments struggle to sell, and new businesses hesitate to open. This creates a cycle where daily life becomes less convenient, leading to further population decline. This phenomenon has already started to manifest in many of China's local cities. Job opportunities in these areas are scarce, leading many people to rely on temporary government jobs as a last resort. Many local governments are now sustained by funds from wealthier regions or the central government, as their own tax revenues are insufficient even to cover personnel costs. However, this system is unsustainable, and as China's larger cities face their own economic challenges, there will be less money available to send to these struggling regions. China has also been discussing the possibility of merging various counties to streamline administration, but consolidating failing regions won't solve the underlying economic issues. Without economic revitalization, populations will continue to decline, and local economies will become increasingly reliant on government support. In the future, many towns will be left with mostly elderly populations, as even children are now being taken by their parents to cities for better opportunities. At the same time, the Chinese Communist Party continues to hold grand ambitions for territorial expansion, despite the fact that much of the land it already governs is in decline. From Taiwan's perspective, China's ambitions seem like a pipe dream, given the crumbling state of many of its regions. In conclusion, While there are parts of China where the economy might appear strong, the majority of the country is experiencing a significant downturn. Many local governments are being propped up by funds from wealthier areas, but this system is unsustainable. As the economic divide continues to widen, China faces serious challenges ahead.